Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley, along with Tim Fitzgerald. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Today, power rankings. After week 2, Fitz, the Big 12, there was some movement. There was definitely some movement in the power rankings, up and down and all over the place. Just like we said, it's a moving target each and every week. But I honed in on some stuff this week, and yeah, there were some changes, and I thought there needed to be. The conference, look, took it on the chin this past weekend. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts, but for the most part, the top teams kind of stay the top teams, minus one. We'll get into all of that. So before we even get started, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comments as always, and always hit the notification bell before or so that you know when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. Fitz, how you doing today?
I'm good. I cover Kansas State. I'm okay. Yeah. It's been a weird season. I feel like exactly my colleagues at Utah and Oklahoma State might have felt last year, looking around like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So it's early though. And the rankings in the non-conference are volatile because there are upsets, but also we don't know how to judge the quality of a victory. We don't know some of these opponents, Weber State and, just on down the list. Everyone's played one. But we know this, losing to a bye game is never good. And Kansas State pulled it off once again. So congratulations on losing to Army. You're not the first ones to do it. And I mean, globally, but it is rare for a power level team to lose to the football team from the Army Academy from West Point. And you know what? They were the better team. They executed exactly what they needed to do. And it was something to watch.
There was a couple of those in the conference this week. There was a few. We'll go over them. And it's good to keep in mind, everybody, that, look, obviously it's a week-to-week basis. Power rankings have to change and be judged on a week-to-week basis, but it's not the only thing. You can do a little bit of collective, especially since there's only been 2 weeks. Sometimes you have to go by what you see, versus, okay, this week they were only horrible, so you have to move them all the way to the bottom. And you can use a collective. And that's the thing about it. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. But it's just been 2 weeks. Let's just get into it. First off, Oklahoma State, 69-3. Their coach wants to get out. I don't look. It's off the rails already in Stillwater. Mike Gundy complaining about. It's wild that he complained about a team getting money, buying a roster, having a booster, whatever he wants to say, when literally Oklahoma State was a middling program before T. Boone Pickens stepped in, infused a ton of cash at the time, the biggest infusion in the history of college sports. All of a sudden, and again, to go along with hiring Mike Gundy, all of a sudden they become a big-time program within the Big 12, going to big-time bowl games, winning games, and now he's complaining about it. Mike Gundy wants outfits. He's done. He's done.
Here's how volatile and important sometimes recruiting can be. Zach Robinson was committed to Kansas State. Mike Gundy was hired, and he flipped because his mom is not only an Oklahoma State grad, but her and Gundy were friends in college. And now he might be the next coach. It's kind of crazy to think about that. If he'd gone to Kansas State, who knows where he'd be now. Maybe he would not be coaching in the NFL. Maybe he would not have been a star quarterback. I don't know. But he chose wisely, had a great career, and now might become the head coach at his alma mater. Next in line. That's pretty incredible.
It is. But I don't know. I mean, obviously anybody can still turn it around. The season is very, very young, but when you're already making excuses on why you're going to get beat before a game starts, I don't know what kind of message that sends to your team. And clearly it wasn't a good one, because 69-3 later, Lord have mercy. Brutal. Number 15, Kansas State. Look, Fitz, I initially, my emotion took over, and I had them at 16. I was mad. But then I thought, you can't put a team that got beat 69-3 where the coach wants out. You can't put them ahead of Kansas State. Even though, as I mentioned earlier, the collective, Kansas State's played 3 games. They've been physically beat in all 3 football games that they have played. I'm not sure it gets worse than that, other than to get beat 69-3 and your coach wants to quit. So that's the only reason that they are not at 16 this week. I think it's a valid reason. I don't think you can look at Kansas State and say, well, they're better than how? Like, what makes you think they're better than anybody else other than Oklahoma State in this conference? I just don't see that at this point, Fitz.
Yeah, I know. This K-State team's in trouble, but Saturday night's loss to Army provided some firsts. I mean, it was truly, in the sense of the word, a unique game. We can't find any record, and AI can't find any record, of a team running fewer plays in a half since World War II than K-State's 13 plays in the second half. K-State had 2 possessions, and time of possession in the second half was 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
Disgusting.
It took a series of events to get there too, Big B. It took Army never really breaking big plays and just kind of inching up the field. They averaged 3.4 yards a carry, and it was basically that. Do this 3 or 4 times, first down. Do this 3 or 4 times, first down. And then K-State has a kickoff return for a touchdown. Defense goes back on the field. Army scores again. An onside kick / squib kick that nailed someone, and Army recovers. Army ran 46 straight plays, offensive plays, with 2 kickoffs in the middle that went their way or got the ball back. Crazy. It was one of the most insane games. But if you want to know how Army would love to play every game, this was it.
Yep.
Just take the ball, don't give it back, eat up the clock, beat them up, cut block them, demoralize them, win. It was a beautiful piece of coaching by the Army staff.
It was. Kansas State's got to get some stuff figured out because, contrary to what maybe a lot of people believe, they're just not good. They're just not a good football team. So it's just period. They're just not a good team. Got to show something better.
They got dudes, but the dudes got to play.
Yes, absolutely. At number 14, West Virginia. Again, another team that got beat by a group of 5. The cautionary tale here, though, Fitz, stop playing road games at group of 5 venues. Stop doing it. Iowa State's about to do it to Arkansas State this week. Now, we'll see. I think Iowa State's going to be okay, but just stop doing it. You're a Big 12 team. You don't have to do this. Stop going there. But Lord have mercy. I mean, West Virginia couldn't run the ball. I know Jaheim White got hurt, and God bless him. He's out for the year. That's horrible. First of all, how he got hurt. It was a horrible play. A face mask and a horse collar. People get mad about horse collars being why they're illegal. This is why. This is literally why. And it was on the same play. Kid grabs his face mask and a horse collar to bring him down, blows his knee out. Come on, man. Either way, it's disgusting. But you can't tell me that West Virginia shouldn't be able to line up, have the backup running back, and run for 120, 130 yards. They couldn't. Ohio physically whipped them, almost doubled them as far as output in the game, as far as total yards. West Virginia, look, Rich Rod 2.0, not getting off to a great start. It looked good against Robert Morris, but that was Robert Morris. You literally step up one level, not to Power 5 or Power 4, just one level, and you can't move the football. That's not a good sign, Fitz.
No, it's not. It's not. And again, not only do you play a non-power institution on the road, there's kind of a little low-key rivalry there. I mean, it's just cross state lines, and Ohio had something to prove. It was a bad formula for the Mountaineers.
Yeah. No reason to play the game. Bad formula, bad showing, no physicality. disgusting and an embarrassment to the Big 12. Let's just throw it out there.
Yep.
Absolutely embarrassment. So I don't even want to get into it. That's just what it is. Next up, we have UCF. UCF, look, first week they struggled. They flat out struggled. This week, blow somebody out of the water. Now, again, North Carolina A&T, I'm not sure how good that program is. But you know what? You could have looked bad. You could have struggled, and you didn't. So I'll give you some credit there, but I got him at 13 this week, Fitz.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to just hurt someone's feelings and to make yourself feel better. And that's exactly what they did. And it might have propelled them. You just don't know what impact one of those games can have on your team. Maybe it'll build a sense of confidence and belief, or maybe it'll be, it seems so easy. They feel like they don't have to try. So every team's a little bit different. Their leadership within the locker room's different. We'll see how the Knights handle this one, but it was a needed cool drink of water.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At number 12, we got Cincinnati. Look, Cincinnati, I think first of all, they needed to win. They didn't blow out Bowling Green. They played better offensively. But I think they needed to win because matter of fact, I know so. They left a lot of meat on the bone at Nebraska. 69 yards passing, not going to get it done anywhere, even though they ran for 207 against Nebraska. 69 yards passing, and I think they had 34 going into the last drive. Lord have mercy. But they come back. Brendan Sorsby throws for 333, obviously redeemed himself. But it's a work in progress at Cincinnati, but they're getting better. Hopefully, this might propel them moving forward because Cincinnati, they need to get better. They need to get, not that everybody doesn't need to get better, but I think for everybody's sake, including the coach, 12 as far as a power ranking, which is absolutely fair, needs to move up if this program is going to take the next step.
Maybe Nebraska's really good. I don't know. I mean, it's
Could
the
be.
non-conference schedule still, and we don't know. And sometimes you play an opponent that you think you can beat and you played to that level. And then later you find out they were really good and we played well to keep up with them. So the context of all of these games doesn't exist fully right now.
Right.
And it will begin to come into picture a little bit later in the season. And that's when the voters kind of settle in and say, hey, they played Nebraska pretty tough. Maybe they are better than we thought. So we'll see. We'll see how I just want conference play. I just want head-to-head matchups. Now, there's a weird non-conference game in conference play this week, but that still gives you a point of comparison that is of value.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At number 11, I got Colorado. Here's the thing. Somebody in the comments section yesterday made a great comment, Fitz, that Colorado in the middle of a game was having a quarterback battle. Not just usually when you see that, hey, there's two quarterbacks playing, three quarterbacks play. And now it's a three-headed monster. It's like, who's going to be the starter in a game against Delaware? It turns out the guy that I'm assuming started third on the depth chart played the best in the game, got the offense moving. Who knows what's going to happen this week with Colorado? First off, you got to get that settled. The old saying, hey, if you got two quarterbacks, you have none. Well, hell, if you got three, what does that mean?
You got a mess.
Yes. So I think Ryan Staub, to be honest with you, I think that has to be the guy. Look, Caden Salter, maybe you go back to him. I don't know, but he started the game, wasn't great. We'll see. They gave kid an opportunity, and he looked good. I think the young kid, Lewis, I think you got to sit him down and just let him redshirt. He's only 17 years old, Fitz. It's okay for him to sit. He is the future at Colorado. There's no doubt about that. But that doesn't have to be this year. So having said all of that, 11 seems fine. Let's see what Colorado does moving forward. I wasn't that impressed with that game against Delaware. Again, I'm going to keep saying this about Colorado and their fans this week. They didn't even push back. 5 sacks to Delaware? You giving up 5 sacks to Delaware? Come on, man. Don't tell me about this offensive line being more physical and you're giving up 5 sacks to Delaware. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it.
If you're having trouble with a football team with the mascot Blue Hens, you might want to question some things about your football program. So The Blue Hens, I don't even have a joke. I got down that road and realized it was a cul-de-sac. I had nowhere to go.
Yeah, they got a good game, interesting game, Houston and Colorado this week. We'll see what happens, because the one thing that I know for an absolute fact, Houston's going to bring a defense, and they're going to get after you. And if you can't protect the quarterback, problems. It's going to be problems. So we'll see.
Big game for Houston. Really
Absolutely.
is. Big game for both programs, but Houston's the one trying to climb the ladder in this conference.
Yep, absolutely. So those are the first 6 fits. So let's bring it up. Now, last year we compared these to the Big 12 insiders, the publishers of the Big 12 programs, and we're back doing it this week. They didn't do it after week 1, or they got it in late. So here we are.
Yep.
This is what the publishers have, and ours is in bold. Theirs is to the right. So we agree on Oklahoma State. Again, the whole Kansas State thing, they have them at 13, and other than a half of football, I don't know. Again, maybe my emotions getting in the way because I'm so frustrated with K-State. I just know what I've seen the last 2 weeks. You can't tell me what you've seen the last 2 weeks is better than West Virginia or UCF. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is kind of a weird voting on reputation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the publishers are saying it's Kansas State, for heaven's sakes. They got to be better than this. And those of us who've watched the games realize, no, they really aren't that good.
Nope.
Right now.
Houston at number 11, the disrespect for Houston. I don't know. And maybe I'm a little high on them, but we'll see. 11 is tricky for me for Houston right now. But
yeah, that one alone's interesting, because those teams, you've got Colorado there, they've got Houston there, and they're going to decide that head to head.
They are. Moving on. So number 10, people are going to think this is low. I don't. I watched them play. They weren't any good. They didn't play well. They had a physical running game. That's the only thing that Arizona State did well. I've got them at 10. You can say that, oh, come on, Big B, they're better than that. Well, they didn't show me. No. Oh, by the way, I saw them the first week against Northern Arizona too. And there were a ton of people in the comments that said, Big B, Arizona State didn't look good. You got them too high. And I pushed back and I said, hey, first game jitters, trying to play without a superstar. They'll figure it out. Then you go to Mississippi State, didn't look any better. Yeah, they ran the ball, but a guy that some people were saying was a first-round draft pick as a quarterback threw for 82 yards. Was missing throws left and right. Dillingham said, he's got to do a better job of getting him through. No, your quarterback was just off. He played a bad game. It's okay to say that. He did, and they paid the price for it. Simple, and 10 is about where they need to be. You can build yourself up week to week, but again, they didn't necessarily look great week 1. They didn't look great last week. Got to earn your stripes with me, Fitz. 10 is where I got Arizona State.
Look, the Big 12 has not fared particularly well in these non-conference games. I think it's safe to say at this point, this league's going to get one bid into the champion will go into the playoff, unless 2 teams absolutely separate and look good and
correct
play the championship. And if something freaky like that happens, then maybe they get a second team in. But this loss was particularly harmful to the reputation of the conference. And I'm not throwing Arizona State under the bus and blaming them for anything, but you were one of the favorites in the conference, and Mississippi State is viewed as one of the worst teams in the SEC. And when you go there and lose, it doesn't look good. And I understand playing at Mississippi State at night with the cowbells, all the weirdness, it's tough, but you got to go perform better than that if you're going to be one of the standards of this conference. And we're seeing some of the standards fall short of that standard right now.
Absolutely. And hopefully, of course, in the comments and all over the internet, it's one-year wonders, and you got to fight that back. Look, you put yourself in this situation. That's not a game you should have lost. You should have been able to go and beat Mississippi State, period, point blank. And you didn't. You got to take your lumps, man. You got to take your lumps. At number 9, I have KU. And there'll be people that say, well, Arizona State, KU. Look, KU, they both lost to SEC teams on the road. One predicted to be at the bottom of the conference. The other predicted to be on the upper half of the middle of the conference. If you watch the football games, KU looked better. Now, granted, KU's defense didn't look like it could stop a high school team, but it looked better. So I have KU at 9, Arizona State at 10. I mean, look, KU was in the game, Fitz.
Yep. They were leading.
Yeah, they were leading the game, but then it got away from them. And then it was just like, they can't stop Missouri. Like, they can't stop them from running. They can't stop them from throwing. And as much as I think KU might be able to compete, you're not going to be – there's better offenses in the Big 12 than what Missouri has. I'm sorry. They're just flat out is. You're going to give up 595 yards to Mizzou? I mean, maybe you don't give that up again, but there's going to be teams that get upwards of 500 yards. You're not winning many games like that, Fitz. You're just not going to.
Offense and defense have to complement each other.
Yeah.
And Kansas desperately needed the offense to possess the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely love watching Jalen Daniels play, but this guy has to fix his fumbling issues or his career is going to be over. Nobody's going to trust him in the pocket.
Correct.
He continues to try to hold the ball like a loaf of bread when he's getting hit, and he continues to fumble it. They're up 21-6. And all they need to do is suck the life out of the game, move the ball up and down the field, and then he fumbles twice. Gotta stop, man. Yeah. You are absolutely destroying your team. And I understand the conflict Lance Leipold is in because when he doesn't fumble, my goodness, is he good. But he always gives it back. As I like to joke about players, he's always making big plays. You just don't know which team's going to get the big play. And that's kind of how he plays. But when he's on, he's amazing. But take care of the ball.
Yeah.
Lance Leipold's got to be losing his mind.
Yeah. You got to take care of the football. It's a problem. Last year, I thought it was more of a hero ball effect.
Yeah.
And him wanting to do more than what he needed to. He had other players and them asking him to do more than what he needed to do.
Right.
Didn't have to do that the other day. Maybe I don't know. It just seemed weird. But they couldn't. They couldn't move the ball against Mizzou. I know Mizzou's defense is pretty good, but they couldn't do enough. You got to play complementary football, like you said, and they weren't able to do that. Next up at 8, I've got Arizona. Look, I've been the first person to say that Arizona hasn't played anybody that's any good. But when you don't do that, what's your job? Go out and dominate 2 football teams. Arizona has done that. So it'd be one thing if they were scraping by or anything. They're not. They're putting the wood to people. So they got a test. I don't know how big a test it is on Friday against K-State, but we'll see. I would hope that K-State is better than Stanford and Hawaii, but we don't know that. Having said that, I like what Arizona's done so far, Fitz. I got them at 8.
Looking better.
Yeah.
We're going to discover a lot about them. Well, maybe not. They're playing Kansas State this weekend or on Friday. But building this team's confidence up and trusting the systems they're putting on the field with new coordinators has been really important to this program.
Yes.
Now they're going to wrap up their non-conference game with the conference opponent in Kansas State. And if they win that, they're going to feel incredibly good about where they're at going into conference play. It's going to be huge for them. But this game is enormous for this program and this head coach.
Right. Yeah. Big game for them. Big game. At home, night, national audience. We'll see what happens. Number 7, I got Houston. Some might not be as high. I like Houston because Houston has been ultra vanilla, Fitz, in their first 2 games. Just ultra vanilla. That defense is there. They may have found some offense. I don't think we're really going to know until they play Colorado on Friday night. So I don't think because I know so. They haven't done, unless this is going to be their offense, which I highly doubt. But if it is, okay. But having said all of that, Willie Fritz is going to bring his defense. And that's going to be a part of what they're going to do. I think it's a big game for them because, number one, it's Colorado, so a lot of eyeballs are going to be on the football game. It's Friday night now. Don't get me wrong. I loathe Friday night games because they take away from high school football. I'm just
Right.
a big high school football person. And to dip your toe into that, I think is beyond selfish, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But I think Houston has an opportunity here. I'm high on Houston. I think I've been a little higher on Houston than others have, but I like Houston. I like them at 7 until they prove me otherwise.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if there was an ice cream flavor called Ultra Vanilla, this Ultra Vanilla guy would be getting it and asking for added vanilla. Anyhow, back to the point. Honestly, Big B, I wrestled with the front page image I created for this episode because I had an opportunity to put Dion out there. And what do we know about Dion when his face appears on an image and YouTube? Click, 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 click. But I thought, no, this game is about Houston as much as Colorado. And so I stuck Willie Fritz out there, who for some reason doesn't have the same effect as Dion, but he belongs there because I think this is an absolute breakthrough test for Houston. They can build a lot of confidence off of this and a lot of respect from it. But we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be a really good football game, to say the least. But again, we talked about big opportunity for Arizona on Friday. It's a big opportunity for Houston on Friday as well. A lot of eyeballs on them. At number 6, the Baylor Bears. Baylor back in Big B's good graces. Number 1, I went to watch them in person. Number 2, look, they had an opportunity to quit. This is kind of the same thing that happened with them last year, Fitz. They had an opportunity to literally fold the tent. And Baylor, first game at home against Auburn, who maybe Auburn is better than what a lot of people think. I'm not sure they are. I know they got ranked this week. I still think Auburn is a 4 or 5 loss football team. Okay. Having said that, go to SMU. I predicted if they beat SMU, they would drop SMU. SMU didn't just fall out of the rankings. They fell so far. They're now a team that's in the middle of the pack as far as receiving votes. You knew that was going to happen. They were going to totally disrespect them as soon as they had an opportunity. Oh, they must not be very good. Baylor beat them. Okay. I just watched Baylor down 14 twice, come back within 5 minutes, score 2 touchdowns in 5 minutes. I know their defense isn't great, but what did their defense do in this game to help them win? They got 2 stops when they had to get 2 stops, Fitz. That's what they did. And then in the double overtime, caused a missed field goal. They make the field goal. They win the game. Look, you go down 2 scores and then you get the ball and you lose it on downs, down 14. It's like, okay, game's over.
Yeah.
It wasn't. They got to stop. They scored a touchdown. They got another stop, scored a touchdown. I almost thought the refs were going to take it away from them too, Fitz, because they had just a horrific targeting call that they called on Baylor where a quarterback goes down. Literally, he runs up to the defender and then jumps down on his butt, and the defender hits him in the shoulder with his shoulder. They call targeting. I'm like, they just ruining football, just trying to ruin it, and tried to take the game away from them. But thankfully, they did not. I was proud of Baylor, and I got them at 6, Fitz. Their defense needs to come on a little bit, but that offense is pretty damn good.
Sawyer Robinson, what got into you? I've heard Baylor fans talking about how great he's going to be. Ooh, I should have listened.
Yeah.
He was cooking. He was dealing. That was a game. That was a great quarterback-driven victory, and in many ways, the defense had to get its job done, but put up those kind of numbers, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and not to mention, the game started off with a 75-yard touchdown pass off a pass that Baylor should have intercepted, deflected it. SMU guy catches it, runs in for a touch. That's how the game started. First play from scrimmage. I'm like, well, so the struggle bus all game, but they were able to get it done. Good for them. At number 5, I got BYU. BYU fans are starting to turn on me, Fitz. They're starting to turn on me because I said they didn't blow out Stanford on Saturday. Well, I'm sorry. 27-3 is not a blowout. So people are beating teams 69-3 and 69-14. Those are blowouts. You beat somebody 45-3. Okay, let's talk about it. But 27-3, even though you dominated the game, dominating a football game and blowing somebody out is totally different. Not even the same thing. Having said that, I never said BYU wasn't good. I still think they were good. They just didn't happen to blow out Stanford. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to change my mind on this. Stanford stinks. So they didn't blow them out. And I think Stanford stinks. It's okay. Doesn't mean you're not any good. Just means maybe your offense needs a little work. That's all. Should have scored more points. That's my opinion. I'm not changing it. But I still think BYU's very, very good because you know what they do have? Crazy good defense. Yep. Crazy physical defense. And like a lot of fans and myself said, I think that's what's going to carry them until they start to get into a little bit of the meat of their schedule. Their defense is going to carry them until their quarterback can get up the snuff. The offense can get up the snuff. The offensive coordinator get comfortable with what needs to be called, what his quarterback is comfortable with. It takes a few games. They're in the middle of that right now. Nothing wrong with that. I like BYU. I got them at 5.
Yeah, look, the problem here isn't BYU other than the fact that if Stanford, the worst power level team by far, I think, was its own ice cream flavor, it'd be ultra crappy, which I don't think would be a big seller, but really does capture the flavor of Stanford football
right
in its current setting. It's awful. Poor Andrew Luck. He came back to help, and it's embarrassing. It's awful.
Well, the thing about that, he's basically got to break it down to the studs and start over. He hasn't done that yet. I mean, I know he brought in, his buddy Frank Wright, and we can talk about that at a different time. But Andrew Luck's, he's got to break it all the way down to the studs and start completely over. Having said that, I like BYU. So that was the next 6, Fitz. So let's compare that to what the 24/7 publishers got. We're right on BYU. We're right on Baylor. Flip Kansas and Arizona. Look, the reason that I like Kansas, but Kansas lost, Arizona didn't. I got them at 8. That's the difference. They got Colorado at 7. They got Colorado at 10 and Arizona State at 7. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just saying, look, when you lose to a team that's predicted to be, and things could be different, but this is what we know as of right now. Mississippi State's not that great of a football team. I didn't think they even played that, or they played good. I just didn't think Arizona State played good. So you got to pay a price for that for me, in my opinion. So that's where I have them where they have them.
Well, I'm going to be really blunt here. I like your Houston placing probably better than the publishers. It may, in reality, maybe they're around 9, but we don't have a Houston vote right now in our poll. The person running the site has not participated in this, so that might hollow out Houston's 24/7 publishers vote a little bit. But I think we're going to learn a lot this weekend about this. But I was also amazed as I started this when I was creating graphics for you, how much commonality you had at the top. And it's time to move to the top because it gets pretty interesting in this conference.
It does. I still think the Big 12 is good. I like what you mentioned before, but we'll get into that here in a minute. Let's keep going. At number 4, I got TCU. They were off. They were the only team that was off this week. And that's probably smart. They played a Monday night game. No reason to rock the boat, Fitz. You play Monday at night on the road. No reason for you to then turn around and come back and play Saturday. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Give yourself an opportunity. Set yourself up for success. Don't set yourself up for failure just for the simple fact of, oh, well, we just want to keep going and play a game. No, you don't have to. And probably thought that North Carolina was going to be a little bit better competition than what they were, but whatever. I like that they took the week off. Good for them. But I like TCU. Not sure, or North Carolina's great, but TCU blew them out. And I'll be honest, TCU could have scored 55 points if they wanted to. I think they took their foot off the gas. I think they could have scored 55 points on them. So good for them. I like them. I got them at 4.
I think TCU's pretty good. I
Mhm.
think we're still feeling out exactly how good, but the Frogs are a true contender this year. This is going to be interesting
Yeah,
because when they play at a high level, they play at a high level.
they do.
So we'll see how it all pans out.
They do. At number 3, I've got Texas Tech at number 3 this week. Tech fans will be mad at me. I'm sorry. But it just is what it is at this point. You haven't played anybody worth any. Now, there's other teams that haven't either. So I'm not saying that, oh, well, we're not the only ones that haven't played it. I understand. This is where you are this week in Big B's power rankings. You're at number 3. It could be worse. You could be 8. You could be 12. You could be 16. You're not. You're at number 3. Things will get sorted out. Can't be number 1 every week. This week you're at 3. It's a good spot for Tech. And not to mention, Tech, Barrett Morton's played this week. I thought he was going to sit out. I thought they would just hold him out. Injury wasn't near as bad, clearly, as what it could have been. Glad he was out there. But the one thing that I know, Tech is good, Fitz. Tech is good.
They are. They got dudes. They went out and bought a team, which is perfectly fine nowadays. I love it because it pisses off the SEC that someone else has the gall to do what they've been doing. So I think we typically don't know who the best teams are until we get into conference play, but I think we might be pretty zeroed in on the top teams right now because they just look different.
They do. They do. The only thing that I would say is they just haven't been really tested.
Yeah.
Except for the top team, and we'll get to that. Number 2, Utah. Again, same difference. You probably could flip Utah and Tech. You could put 1 at 2, and 3. You could flip either or because, again, neither has been tested unless you want to say that Utah played UCLA. And I think I know that's the reason why I put them ahead is because while I don't think UCLA is very good, at least that test is more of a bigger test than anything that Tech has played. That's all. Again, and UCLA is not good at all.
No.
They just got roadhouse smacked around by UNLV. But yeah, that's the only thing. I just think that who they've played is a bigger test. But you could have flip-flopped these, and it would have been fine. It would have been fine. But the one thing that I know, it appears that Utah's found some offense. They got defense, Fitz. It's early. I think Utah might just be back.
Yep,
might be.
I agree. I totally agree. And you're right about UCLA. UCLA's motto this season is "Thank God we're not Stanford," because they're both really bad. So it's hard to tell. But again, they just look different. Utah does. It looks like Utah football, unlike last year. They got a quarterback that everyone's in love with. And if the team trusts him and believes in him, and that's half the battle.
Yep.
If you got good quarterback play, and it can make your defense and special teams better too, because the whole team kind of is uplifted by that. And we're seeing that right now with the Utes. Very interesting start for Utah.
Yeah, Utah fans would have just accepted competent quarterback play the last 2 years. They couldn't get that. Now they got even more than competent. They have good quarterback, really good quarterback play up to this point. So Utah fans, be happy. It might have just been a blip. Might have just been a blip on the radar. We'll see as the season goes on. At number 1, I got Iowa State. I don't think there should be any debate about this, to be honest with you. Now, look, the Kansas State win looks like an anvil in water. I mean, it is just sinking fast as the weeks go on. That win is starting to look like nothing as the weeks go on. But they did beat Iowa. And Iowa, first of all, that series, it's always going to be a 3-point game. It's never going to be high scoring. And it was the typical game. They have just proven more at this point than anybody else.
Right.
That's all. Again, I don't think Kansas State at this point is a good football team, but maybe they were week 1. I don't know. But they did beat Iowa. I think Iowa is a good football team. I'm not saying Iowa's going to win 10 games this year, but I think they'll win 8 or 9 because that's kind of what Iowa does every year. They win 8 or 9 games. So I think Iowa State's just proven more at this point than Utah and Tech have based on the opponents that they have played. That's why I have them at 1. And to be frank with you, I don't think there's really a debate about that. I don't think anybody could come up other than those teams dominated opponents. Well, great, but you didn't play anybody any good. Iowa State has done that.
I think this defines the conference in totality. The fact that the team we have number 1 in the power rankings barely beat the team at 15. And in fact, flip a play here and there, maybe Kansas State wins that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's because Iowa State played horribly or Kansas State played pretty well for what it's shown on the field so far this year, because it was bad against North Dakota and just as bad against Army. So their best performance has been against the best team. So it makes it very confusing, doesn't it?
Yes.
Are we undervaluing K-State, overvaluing Iowa State, or is just this the chaos we're going to see in the Big 12? That's my vote. If we're only going to get one team in the playoff as a conference already, because the non-conference has done this league no favors.
Mm-mm.
The performance of the non-conference has been fairly pitiful by the Big 12. So they're probably locked into one spot. Let's just have all out bloodbath. Let's have a bunch of 5-4 and 4-5 teams and just beat the snot out of each other for our own enjoyment. Like, release the lions onto the field, literal lions in the middle of a game. Let's go full gladiator here, Big B, with this conference and really amp up those TV ratings.
I mean, well, first of all, you know my philosophy. I love chaos. I love chaos. I just don't know if that's the best for the conference. Now,
okay.
I mean, I love chaos, and I would love to see it happen. But I think for the Big 12's sake, I would love more chaos in basketball than I do in football. Because in basketball, the Big 12 is going to get a number of teams that qualify for the NCAA tournament. It has much more respect in basketball than it does in football. So we've talked about it. We kind of need the lead dogs to do that. A couple of teams separate. It'd be great if there were 3 that separate. But looky here. They all agreed. Oh,
top 6,
except I have Tech at 3.
Oh, I messed that up.
Utah at 2. But that's all right. That's all right. People will get it.
I apologize, Big B. I was sober when I did this, and I just don't do very well sober.
No, it's fine. People understand. They get it. Well, we're close. But we're starting to see some separation, though, Fitz. That's the main thing. We're starting to see some separation. And early in the season. That's the thing. And, as far as the top 7 teams, I talked about it at the very beginning of the year. 7 teams I thought had an opportunity to win the Big 12 conference. Now, technically, everybody still has an opportunity because nobody is out of it at this point, including Kansas State, who has already lost a conference game. Hell, Kansas State could lose to Arizona this week, and they still would have only lost 1 conference game.
Crazy.
Having said that, look, let's just call it like it is. I think it's down to 6 teams, maybe 5, depending on how Arizona State bounces back. But we're getting closer to conference play. Heck, we got a conference game this weekend. I don't know if those 2 teams are going to decide the conference, but I think it could be a barometer for one of them to say, hey, look at us. Look at me. We're pretty good, and I think it's an opportunity, but I think we're starting to see a little bit of separation here, Fitz, which is good. We needed to see some separation. You don't want to have 100 teams battling it out so they can just say, well, the top team in your conference, they weren't very good, which sucks for Arizona State, because if Arizona State comes back and wins the conference, for a fact that they are going to hold that Mississippi State game on they could beat everybody else 100-0 the rest of the season, Fitz. They could literally win every game 100-0 from here on out. The league would get 1 team in because they're going to say Arizona State's not very good because they lost to Mississippi State. It absolutely sucks, but it's reality.
I fixed it.
Oh,
I can't stand mistakes. Yeah, it's going to be a very fascinating season.
mm-hmm.
But I know this, as you look at this list, the top 6 teams all have a chance to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that next corridor. I think those teams, the maybe the next 4 have a chance to be fairly good. I don't know about Colorado. Maybe it's the next 3. And then you've got everything else. And I'm kind of surprised 11 on down, or at least 13 on down, aren't like steaming like a pile of you know what. And among that is 2 programs, honestly, bluntly put, need to be better for the Big 12 to get respect. And that's Kansas State and Oklahoma State. They've kind of been cornerstones of this conference, even when Texas and Oklahoma were in it. They need to step it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love your corridors there. I'm not giving Colorado that until I see better.
I need more.
Better physicality. I'm not giving Colorado that. They can earn it. Don't get me wrong, but they haven't yet. And quite frankly, we talked about this at the beginning. Oklahoma State, I think Gundy's cashed it in. Look, you're giving an excuse on why you're going to get blown out before the game. I mean, that could be one of the worst messaging that I think I've seen ahead. If he'd have said this during the summer, okay, not great messaging during the summer, but fine. The week of the game, come on. You're basically just giving an excuse on why you're going to get blown out. And I love what Dan Landing said. He just basically rubbed it in. Said, yep, he's probably in his press conference saying, see, I told you so. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. Just rub it right in his face. But Big 12's still got an opportunity, man. Yep. They got an opportunity. I'm still excited about this conference. Didn't go great last week. Not a ton of marquee matchups this week, but obviously a couple of teams play each other. But the main thing is we need to go win. Big 12 needs to start piling up some wins because conference play is going to start soon enough. I mean, it starts this week with 2 teams. It's already started, I guess, with Iowa State and Kansas State. But the meat of the conference is about to get going. It's time to start winning, start separating, going from there, Fitz. So appreciate everybody, man. Thank you guys, as always, for showing up like you always do. Thank you very much. We will talk to you guys again soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.